No one could have predicted what 3I Atlas would become. At first, it was only another faint blur among the stars, a frozen fragment from beyond our solar cradle, but there was something wrong about it from the beginning. Its light shimmered with a strange intelligence, a rhythm that didn't belong to mere stone and ice. Those who watched the data streams in the lonely hours of the night felt it, an uneasy pulse hidden beneath the signal noise, as though the universe itself were holding its breath. If you are still listening, keep your eyes on the transmissions, because what comes next might change everything we thought we knew about what moves between the stars. For days the sun had been restless, trembling with the fury of something ancient awakening. Vast sunspots boiled across its golden face, magnetic fields twisting tighter and tighter until they screamed. Observatories across the world captured the warning tremors, arcs of plasma curling into space like claws, as if the star were bracing for something that terrified even it. On September 25th, at exactly 3:47 UTC, the tension snapped. A detonation of light swallowed the solar disk, burning through the instruments that tried to capture it. A massive loop of plasma, hotter than thought itself, rose tens of thousands of miles high before tearing free, hurling billions of tons of charged particles into the void. A coronal mass ejection, they called it, but this one was different. It was focused, precise, almost as if the sun had aimed, and its target impossibly was 3I Atlas. The object had been drawing closer for months, cutting through space on a trajectory that brushed the orbit of Mars. It glowed a deep green, its tail rich with compounds no comet should carry: nickel, cobalt, diatomic carbon, the fingerprints of industry rather than nature. Its mass was staggering, over 30 billion tons, yet it moved with the calm of something guided. Scientists had whispered theories they didn't dare publish. Maybe it wasn't alive but built, a structure cloaked in ice, a shell pretending to be stone. When the solar storm reached it, the universe seemed to flinch. The plasma wave struck with enough energy to shred the magnetosphere of Jupiter. 3I Atlas should have been vaporized. Instead, the moment of impact unfolded in horrifying beauty. Its emerald tail snapped like a whip and vanished. The luminous coma around its core imploded, leaving only a dead shadow tumbling through the void. For 2 hours it drifted, inert, as the world watched and celebrated the supposed end of the threat. The monster had fallen silent. The sun had slain its child. But then, at exactly 2 hours and 7 minutes after the strike, a flicker ignited at its center. At first it was faint, a heartbeat in the dark, but then it pulsed again, stronger, until a blinding flare erupted outward. Every instrument pointed at it screamed with overload. A new tail exploded from the core, symmetrical, perfect, burning greener and brighter than before. Spectrographs caught the impossible rise in energy output, readings climbing far beyond the limits of known physics. The object accelerated as if nothing had happened, matching its old velocity, then surpassing it. 37,000 miles per hour, 40, 50, climbing with a rhythm that felt deliberate, like a machine responding to a command. Scientists stared at their data in silence, unable to speak. The object hadn't been destroyed by the sun's fury, it had consumed it. The energy that should have torn it apart had become its fuel. Dr. Lowe, one of the leading analysts, broke the silence in a voice that trembled with awe. He explained that for weeks before the eruption, solar observatories had detected peculiar tremors across the sun's surface, magnetic quakes that aligned precisely with 3I Atlas's position. It was as though the object had been interacting with the star, drawing it out, coaxing it to release its fury. Lowe suggested something no one dared write down. 3I had provoked the sun on purpose. Like a ship raising its sail to catch a storm, it had waited for the blast and then absorbed its power. That single idea changed everything. The green glow was no longer a byproduct of chemistry, but a sign of activity, of technology. The mass readings showed that after the coronal storm, 3I Atlas had grown heavier. Its electromagnetic signature intensified. Radar returns revealed strange reflections, smooth geometric planes hidden beneath layers of ice, and a hollow structure inside, a ringed lattice more consistent with an engineered shell than a natural body. The conclusion was terrifyingly simple. 3I Atlas was not a comet. It was a machine. And it was alive. Its new energy rippled across space. Mars's orbit shifted, minutely but measurably, as if tugged by an invisible thread. The gravitational anomaly was too strong, too focused. Nothing like it had ever been recorded. A magnetic field that could influence a planet implied a power source greater than any fusion reactor conceived by human minds. It was drawing energy from the sun itself, feeding, growing, changing. As 3I swept past its new perihelion, the data grew stranger. Spectrometers recorded metallic signatures that matched alloys used in high-temperature manufacturing, materials that should not exist in the vacuum of space unless placed there by design. The patterns of light and magnetism around its tail formed rhythmic pulses, sequences repeating every few minutes like coded transmissions. Some claimed to hear structure in the radio emissions, harmonics that suggested communication or computation. Others insisted it was only coincidence, the brain trying to find meaning in chaos. But even the skeptics went silent when the object began to emit low-frequency waves that mirrored solar oscillations, as if it were talking to the star. Probes orbiting Mars picked up bursts of magnetic interference, strong enough to fry unshielded systems. And then something unprecedented. Mars itself shuddered. Its orbit wobbled by a fraction of a degree, small but real. The models were updated, but the change persisted. Planetary dynamics had been altered by something not of nature. Panic spread quietly through the halls of the agencies watching the skies. The object's trajectory remained hyperbolic, unbound by the sun's gravity, a line that would carry it out of the system and into the cold beyond. Yet its path wasn't random. It seemed to be adjusting, bending its course fraction by fraction, aligning towards something unseen. The notion that 3I Atlas was autonomous, perhaps guided by intelligence, moved from fringe speculation to official analysis. It had come from the dark between the stars, had drawn power from our sun, and now it was changing the orbit of planets. Its destination remained unknown, but the implications were infinite. If it could feed on stellar plasma, if it could manipulate gravity fields on a planetary scale, then we were witnessing not the death of a comet, but the operation of a civilization far beyond our understanding. Some whispered that it was harvesting. Others said it was seeding. As the object accelerated past Mars, the green light intensified until even amateur telescopes could see it from Earth. A single emerald spark cutting across the heavens, growing brighter with each hour. Then came the final transmission from a probe near its path. The signal lasted only 9 seconds. It contained no words, no data, only a harmonic pulse, 6 ascending tones that repeated once and stopped. After that, silence. The object flared one last time, brighter than Venus, and then dimmed as it vanished into the void beyond the reach of any instrument. The world waited for something to follow. Another pulse, a return signal, a fragment of explanation. Nothing came. But the sun's surface still bore the marks of its passing, magnetic scars looping in the shape of a spiral. The scientists could not explain it, but the pattern resembled an orbit that did not belong to any known body. In that silence, one truth settled over those who had watched from the beginning. 3I Atlas was gone, but the system was no longer the same. Mars's orbit remained displaced, the sun's fields trembled with residual distortion, and deep in the static of spaceborne instruments a faint, repeating signal persisted, too regular to be noise, too perfect to be natural. It was as if the universe itself had learned a new rhythm, one that pulsed like a heartbeat from somewhere far beyond the reach of light. Whatever 3I Atlas had been, it had come for a reason, and it had left something behind. And somewhere in the cold distance beyond Neptune, where even sunlight fades to nothing, a new green spark flickered into life.